Woo and or who. Here we are again. Thermostat. Since I'm in there. Water pump kit. New gaskets. Interesting how the tensioner is mounted on it. And hey, look, it's not flopping around. Yay. Fan clutch, since why not? I'm sure the whole thing is garbage, and if I'm taking it off, let's just take it off once. Aha! Make a little bit less of a faff. I bought that one. Had to rent this disaster. Somebody's already jacked it up. I showed him that before I took it home. So hopefully we can make it work. Alright, so I think the first thing we got to do for this is get the shroud off. And I noticed while I was dinking around under there the last time that the bottom half is separate. So let's go get this, get my creeper out of the way, get under there, see what that looks like. Okay, from underneath, there doesn't appear to be much holding it on. I think there's a couple of clips up there on the sides that hold it on somehow, and if you can disable those, then this bottom part kind of looks like it'll just pop out like that. Okay. Oh, or it does that. Oh, well, hell, it comes out from the bottom. So that's kind of nice. All right, now I think that the whole thing, or at least the top half, I don't quite know if this is one monolithic piece. It kind of appears to be. So we're going to have to pop these Christmas trees. There. Nice. Like I said, it's a rather small radiator. Alright. And I think there's a couple of bolts at the top, and then that should lift straight out. So, let's go do that. I might actually be able to see a drain. I think this... What am I looking at here? I don't even know. There. I think it's hard to get it because of the light, but I think that may be a drain. So we are going to put a little bucket under this thing and see if I can salvage some of this antifreeze. That is a drain, but it's really the silliest thing I've ever seen. Very, very coarse thread. I mean, that's a serious thread, and the easiest way to do it is with a big honking metric Allen wrench. So, because it'll take a 16 millimeter, but because of those stupid square notches, you can only put it on two ways, and then you get jammed up. Just dumb. Oh well, dodge. Alright, so the next thing we gotta do is try to get this upper radiator hose out of the way. Without breaking the clamp. However that happens, I don't know. So we're going to look at that, and then we'll be back in a minute. Oh, you could say the heck with that and just pop the two Christmas trees out of the shroud. Now we're going to see if we can get to... Oh, come on. The... water pump neck bolts. There's one. Of course, you didn't stay with the wrench. Thank you. And we're gonna have to go get the other one with a regular socket because I don't think I can get that electric thing in there. So, I mean, that's the water That's the thermostat housing. I don't think I'm going to undo these clamps since they do work. So I'm going to go get a wrench and pop that off. Alright, so you can get that pretty much out of the way without bending the hose too bad. Now that we have exposed the thermostat, let's see. That's out. Alright. Nicely, the new thermostat does come with a new gasket because it is an O-ring style and not silicone or anything like that. So that's all part of the bloody water pump. Oh boy. Okay. So I think now we're going to work on getting the fan shroud out to open up some space. Look at what $43 buys you from the thermostat perspective. New nice seal. Looks about the same. Yeah, got the little weeper up there. I could have got one for 20 bucks, but that one only had a 1-year warranty, and I have bad luck with stuff with 1-year warranty. Actually only lasting the year, so this one's lifetime, and I've had pretty good luck with AutoZone lifetime stuff, for whatever that's worth. Probably not a hell of a lot. Okay, so the fan shroud, I believe, is just held in with that bolt and that bolt, and I think it pulls straight up after that. So those look to be 13s again. I'm going to try to pop those out of there and see if the shroud will come out. So yep, it's just those two. And then you got to undo your fans. Well, maybe you don't, but cleared the fan plug is on that, so you got to take that off at a minimum. And then maybe this thing can come out. We gotta see if it's going to be able to snake around the fans. I really don't want to remove the fan. Nope. Looks like you gotta knock the damn fan and clutch off first. So we'll get set up for that. Alright, so this is getting close to an utter failure. The tool that I rented isn't the right one for this pulley, of course, because the proper tool for this one has pins that are 90 degrees to the handle. This one does not have that. And I have a 1 5/16 wrench. This requires 1 3/8. Joy. So, since I have a new pulley and a new fan clutch, I'm not too worried about barking all this up. So I'm going to see if I can come up with something to hold that damn thing in place so I can break this loose. Alright, we got it. It's loose anyway. That's how you can modify these if you have the one that doesn't work. So, you definitely need it though. And the other piece of information that is nice is, at least on this pile, it's a left-handed thread. It wasn't coming off too well when I was trying to tighten it. But, yeah, no, she's spinning off. Okay, so we're going to take that fan out and try to get the shroud the rest of the way off. And for what it's worth, gravity will take the fan out the bottom on its own. I hope I didn't break it. All right. Let's see if this poor thing can come out now. What the heck? There it goes. Yep, it can. Doesn't like to, but it can. Hey, room-ish. Okay, so. Alright, doesn't look like she's any worse for wear from the bounce. That was going to have to come off anyway because it doesn't come with a new fan, and the fan goes on from the backside. So whether you just got the water pump or the whole kit, that has to happen. About 1 3/8 inches, although the big honking pipe wrench did a valiant job on it. Made a rather valiant effort. And then this tool is kind of important, but you don't need the one with these stupid hooks. You need the one with the pins that go through here for this truck. I was able to stick a couple of bolts in there out of my junk drawer, and it actually worked. Yeah, you're not, I didn't get it off easily, and it's going to be much, much worse if at a minimum you don't have something like this, because it's pretty snug. Once it breaks loose, it spins right off, but it is pretty darn snug. Alright, let's get back in there, see what in the world we're dealing with here. Okay. Alright, so now, well, pretty easy job to take the belt off without all that garbage in there. So we're going to pull the tensioner, which is this, pop the belt. I'm going to take the tensioner off of the water pump because it goes on the new one, just to free up some space. It appears this bracket, where does it go? It goes everywhere. I'm hoping that that's just one bolt on this bracket, because otherwise we may have to take a bunch of other crap off the throttle body area. But yeah, once that bracket's off, we'll test my new tool for these type of clamps, since we got to take that one and that one and that one again. And then I think, oh, yeah, well, then we got a temperature sensor probably. Looks like that's a double lock. So, and I think once that all's off, we may have the ability to pull the water pump, which looks to be maybe 12mm screws or 11s, hopefully 12s. Doesn't look like 13s. It's probably 13s. I don't know. I'm rambling. So, belt first. Okay, so the tensioner has just got a 3/8 drive in it, and you gotta pull that tight, and you can undo your belt, which I will promptly forget how it went. I've already changed this once, so it looks pretty good. So now we're going to get, looks to be a 14 or so to pull that off. Okay, so that's a 16. Because of course, there she goes. Save that. Remember how it went. There's a hole. Hopefully there's a hole in the other one. I'm going to try out my new clampy thing. Doesn't necessarily feel terribly industrial, but we will see how it works. Maybe a slight less faff than the pliers. Of course, gotta be in a spot where you can grab them. And they don't necessarily lock open like I think they're supposed to. Come on. Yep. Won't quite go big enough on that one. So only moderately more functional than these. There it goes. Try it on this new one that isn't so swelled up. From this morning. Alright, they're nice in theory. I may return that piece of garbage. I'm sure the real professional ones work. AutoZone Special, not so much. Come on. Okay. Oops. I didn't realize that still had that much stuff in it. Oh well. Alright, let's break these loose. Okay. Oh man. Oh, that's a beauty. That is a super short elbow. That probably can't come off by itself. So at least it's loose. That'll have to go back on when the water pump goes in. As the water pump goes in. There's that dimple where the pin goes from the tensioner. So you know how to locate that. This one does not have to come out. That's just holding the pipe. And we'll have to swap over the temperature sensor. So we're going to go disconnect the temperature sensor and then pull this bracket off, see what the hell happens there. Probably going to have to undo this bolt too. Loosen it up. I'm hoping that that's all. So I'm going to pop this temperature sensor, which looks to have a double lock. Up there, double lock, and start disconnecting the rest of these, all these bolts. There's about 1 billion of them, hopefully. Alright, so if you take off that 13mm nut down here and pull the little 13mm bolt out of there, you can finagle that bracket out of the way. So now we're going to keep moving, pulling the infinity of bolts out of this front cover to get that stupid thing disconnected. And of course, because why not? It is just an utterly random assortment of lengths and sizes. Just fabulous. And you need a 15mm deep socket to get that trash off. Which, I don't know where it is. It's been a long day so far. But we're getting there. I think the other one should be able to come off. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Look at that trash. Thing of beauty. Okay, it feels like I am still attached somewhere, even though I don't see anything, and all the holes in the new one are filled. Now I'm gonna go get a pry bar. It looks like there's a little spot down here I can pry nice and gently and see if I can loosen it up. Yep, she was free. That's it. And yeah, that other pipe just slipped right off. No problem. So, what we've got is my lack of investigation this morning. So, you can see the snail trail there from the weep hole. If I'd done a little bit better looking, I would have realized this was the problem first. I cannot believe that was still running and didn't do any other damage. 128,000 miles. Yep. Gasket didn't leak. Gasket looks good. There's my little temperature probe. Let's pop that out. Swap it over. Scrape down the timing cover and go from there. So right now we're going to clean the timing cover and swap that over to here. Get ready to put this mess back in. Got my gasket sitting out. Hopefully that'll do it. Well, at least I got a new lower hose, so I don't have to worry about that. Although, that wasn't my problem. This was. Guess big picture diagnosis escaped me this morning. I just went for the first thing that was obvious because I didn't look far enough up. Although, I'm so used to this truck. 325,000 miles. Original water pump. I'll say that, it'll fail tomorrow. I'm so used to that. They don't build them like that anymore. I have to say I really like these gaskets. I have to give them credit for that. They fit just completely in a slot. They've got these little nubs on them that pinch in there and hold it. You just push it down nice and solid and it's going to stay when you clamp that thing up. I transferred all my bolts back over to the old one. Still can't believe that. I guess I should. Oh, I got the timing cover all cleaned off. I need to get that thing out of there. So let's do that. Alright, so we got that all transferred over and schmooed up so she doesn't leak. Looks good. There's a 19 millimeter for whatever that's worth. I'm sweating all over this thing. Okay, so now it's going to be time to try to hang this thing. I think what I'm going to do is take this one disaster here and maybe this one and try to just get it kind of hung in place. Then we'll start working the other ones around. I think that's what we're going to do. Now, what I got to try to do is get that hose on as well when we get this thing into position. Because that's not going to move. There it goes. Okay. Might as well get the other one too since we're here. Alright. Now we're going to see if we can get... Well, we did. It started. Okay. Let's see if we can get this bottom one. That one also started. No cross thread, please. the next two up. Alright, so far so good. Alright, below the thermostat. Alright, I gotta go get an extension for that. Now the two around the tensioner. And the two on the bottom. Alright, they're all in. I'm going to snug these up by hand and go find a torque spec, because that's something. Alright, we've got the water pump on torqued. I got torqued at about 25 foot-pounds. I found a spec that said 30 to 35. That just didn't feel right on those real long bolts. They felt like they were getting ready to yield, so 25 worked. That's what we went with. It looks like it pulled it all up nice and square. Got the bracket back on, got the hoses back on as best we can. Now I'm going to put the tensioner back on. Probably put the belt back on just for grins. And yeah, then we'll put the fan shroud on, and then spin the fan on. Alright, got the fan back on, got her snugged up with my hacked together tools. Got the belt on. Sorry, I'm getting beat. It's been a long day, and it's been an 80-degree dew point all day, and finally starting to dehydrate. But we're getting close to the finish. Okay, so last thing's left is the thermostat. See this little dangler here? That's the bleeder. Lets air out. That needs to be basically at the highest point. So at the top is what you want. That's where that needs to go, so then the air can bubble out. If it's at the bottom, you're going to always end up with an air bubble here. It's not going to be good. Okay, that's good. Oop. Ooh, I think we'll clean that a little bit. And then we'll put that back on. Alright, that's a little better. Got her with a little Scotch-Brite. Let's get her down into position. Hit the bolts. Started. Again, this is actually a nice gasket. It's rubber. No goo required. Come on. It's kind of hard to see what I'm shooting at here. Alright, now we can there, put that back in. I'm going to go underneath, lock in the bottom half of the shroud, and then start filling it up. Alright, she is full. If you want to see how to fill it, I'll link to the last video I did when I just changed the lower hose. So, I guess all there is to do now is start it up and hold your breath. Immediately, which is, I guess, good. All the idlers seemed pretty good when I spun them. I probably should have done those, but it's okay. So, I'm going to hose this off and get some of the orange goo out of here and let it idle until it warms up. See what happens. Alright, she's warming up. No leaks so far. Got some pressure in it. I think the thermostat is just barely starting to open. It's been very hot thermostat, 203 Fahrenheit, 95 Celsius. So we went back with the stock one. It's been good so far. You need that to keep all the water and crap out of the oil. And yeah, everything looks good. Nice and quiet. Then get ready to take this back to the parts store and return that stupid pulley holder. Get my money back on that rental. Probably pick up a case of beer and start drinking, because this has been a day. Hot rod is not coming home today. We started at about 8 o'clock this morning. It is now 4:15. 4 trips to the parts store. It's not a terribly complicated job, but you gotta have the right tools. Anyway, man, if you all have stuck with me through this, I appreciate it. Hardcore. So, hope you're all having a good day. See you on the next one.